Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening here. Kevin Crouch with Southern Metro Weather, of course, and we are getting ready for overnight storms, and it's going to be a bit of a long night and a long day tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure um, how much sleep I'm going to get over the next 36 hours here. But hopefully at least a little bit. It's going to be quite the evening. Obviously, there's nothing going on across our area right now. You can see that across the radar here. We're clear. We had a few little popcorn showers and thunderstorms that came through, but really nothing much happened in our area during the day today. I was able to go to Scarborough Renaissance Festival for a few hours and spend a few hours there, spend a bit of money and get some things that I was looking for, and it was a great time. And tomorrow it looks like it may be a little rainy, but I think at least part of the day tomorrow will be at least decent. So we'll get to that timing here in just a moment. I do want to show you a broader look of what we're looking at across the state of Texas. Now, off to the west, off in the Panhandle, you can see that there is quite a bit going on. There's a few supercells out there. One of those is tornado warned. There's quite a few storm chasers on that storm, and all of that complex will eventually start making its way eastward, and that will be part of what comes through overnight tonight. So I want to show you the latest of the short run, the high resolution models here. So obviously there you can see all the storms in Oklahoma and in the Panhandle. And as we go forward, let me just make a quick adjustment here. As we go forward here, watch, come on, work with me. Watch what this does. So that's 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10. So obviously we see more of this activity blow up. And then as we go, that's midnight. So here you can see it getting closer to home here. So that's midnight, 1 a.m. 2. And so this model has, by 1, 2 o'clock, has everything pretty well coming together in an organized linear complex here. Basically a line of storms that will push through in the overnight hours. So getting to 3 o'clock, 4, 5 a.m. So what I want to show you is that not only do we have this leading edge of storms, we will have quite a bit of rain behind it as well. Now, going forward here, that's 6, 7, 8, 9. Something that was interesting in one of the prior models, I think it was the NAM model, the last long-term run it did. We'll get more data, more long-term data at 8 o'clock here. So here in just about 3 hours. But you can see 7 a.m., 8, 9, and then that's the farthest this will take us. We'll go to the long range run here in just a moment. But you can see at 9 o'clock, there's still plenty of rain out there. There is a flood watch that goes into effect at 10 o'clock tonight, runs until 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. So basically covering overnight tonight and through tomorrow, because it looks like we could have this pretty consistent rain, pretty consistent downpours going on with these showers and storms. So, I mean, we really are looking at an event where pretty persistent rains and flooding will be a concern. Now, I want to take you back. Let's see, what am I looking for here? 16Z, thank you. So I want to go ahead, we'll fast forward this to where we're at now. Let's go to, let's see, 18Z, that's what I'm looking for. This is the last long run. So this is going to be, that's 9 a.m. So that's where we were in the last run. So that's showing 9 a.m. Now, the HR has updated to show more heavy rain. You see a little less here. So trends are saying, okay, we could actually have more showers and thunderstorms as we go forward through the next next few days, or next couple of days, really. So as we go forward here, that's 1 o'clock. So something I want to show you is that previously, models were saying, hey, we might get a bit of a break here from all the precipitation and all the storms, but now it's kind of looking, maybe looking a little more consistent. So as we go forward here, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, so you can see more scattered activity. I think that's very possible. And then you get to 6 o'clock. So this is really showing another round of storms moving in, and I believe the NAM model basically showed the same thing, that in the evening there would be another round of storms that come through. And obviously there you can see, really I want to scoot this back, because you can see one here blowing through mostly the Metroplex, and then another possibly down to our southwest, possibly some more intense storms out that way, and then another line kind of pushing through south of us and that sort of thing. So, I mean, that's what I want to show you. Now, the NAM model is our other short-term model. So a lot of the time I'm comparing these two to kind of see, are they pretty consistent? Are they far apart? So just for a look behind the curtain here, this is what the NAM model shows us. What's interesting is that it almost shows more of an east to west orientation of these storms, whereas the HR model shows more of a north to south. But either way, shows a pretty good line of storms coming in the early morning hours. Now, what's interesting is that NAM shows a little bit more organized activity, going through tomorrow morning about mid-morning. So going forward here, it shows a pretty big lull once we get into the afternoon hours. So that's, 3 o'clock. So around the evening time, things, according to the NAM model, would be a little more calm. But then as we get into early, by this point, we're talking early Tuesday morning, another round of storms going through. So, there's different interpretations of this. Basically, the way it lines out is that the HR model is a little more heavy-handed. The NAM model is a little more reserved in terms of what storms we're going to get. And that's pretty normal. I tend to see that be the case for the most part between the HR and NAM models. HR model is a little more aggressive. NAM model is a little more reserved. Either way, though, we have this line of storms moving in overnight, and severe weather is possible, and then probably at least another round of storms tomorrow evening with rain possible in between. So that's why the flooding is going to be a concern. Kaylee Cutler said, how bad is flooding expected for Rio Vista? So the thing is that area-wide, we could see storms. I mean, we could be, dealing with rains of 2 to 3 inches area wide, and then closer to 4 or 5 inches in some local places. So, and I know, when it comes to flooding, really, it's hard to say for sure, because, I mean, it really depends on the area. So much of it depends on, we'll get to the 2 a.m. slide. That's what everybody wants to see. But it really just depends on kind of where you are, how susceptible your area is to flooding. So there's a lot of variables involved in terms of how bad the flooding will be in your area. Really, you have to know your area. I'm not expecting this so much to be a flash flooding, places that have never flooded before, all of a sudden, everything's underwater. I think this is going to be a just persistent, repetitive downpours causing some flooding in some areas. I think this is more towards, backyards that tend to just pool water, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now in terms of what to expect flooding wise for certain areas. I know there are some places where, you're in the direct path of all of the runoff. So it's hard to get away from any flooding because, all the runoff that comes from a field or from a neighborhood or something all goes to your house or your area. So again, those are things to consider. So flooding is one of those threats that unfortunately can be very much subject to change and very different depending on how it impacts different places. Kaylee said your house completely flooded on April 24th. You're terrified it's going to flood again. Got 6 inches within a few hours. I don't know that we're going to get that much rain in that short of time. I don't think we're going to see rain rates that crazy. I do think that there could be some places that seem to just not be able to get it to stop. But I'm doubtful that we are going to see those rain rates get to that point. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Again, what you're looking at right now, this is the HR model. This is about 2 a.m. This is when the storms will be moving in. So that's midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So that's about between 12 and 2 is when they will start to arrive in our northwestern zones. And then that's 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. I mean, they're moving pretty. It's looking like it's going to be moving pretty quickly. Now, here's the thing: the same front that is going to bring these storms in is going to stall. So, I mean, over the next several days, we have rain chances, at least for the rest of the work week here, unfortunately. So, severe weather is a little tougher to kind of parse as far as what we're looking at beyond that point, but it does look like at this point that we're probably dealing with a pretty decent chance of severe storms tomorrow morning and then tomorrow night. Now, how severe are we talking? What are we looking at? Should we be expecting tornadoes or hail or what? So let's take a look at that. The Storm Prediction Center has us under our specific area. They have us under a slight risk. So this slight risk of severe weather is primarily for overnight into tomorrow morning. The greatest risk you can see is the enhanced risk off to the northwest. And then going farther southeast, we have that slight risk. So the green is the marginal risk, slight risk in yellow, enhanced in orange. So as it goes farther southeast, generally that line is going to be weakening. So that is kind of the positive there. My primary concern, I know there's a lot of people that are just jumping in, but just hang with us. We're getting through it. So these storms are expected to weaken some as they come through. My primary concern with this setup is damaging winds, because you saw how that's kind of a bow shape, that linear complex coming through, that straight line of sweeping storms. That's my primary concern overnight tonight. That we could see, damaging winds. And, I think that there could be a hail threat as well. I see several questions about that. I do think that there could be a hail threat. I don't know that we're going to be seeing exceptionally large hail with this setup. Generally, with these linear complexes, you don't really see the kind of updrafts that really make crazy large hail. Now, here's the thing, though. March 8th of this year, early that Saturday morning, we remember when the hail wasn't necessarily that huge, but it was wind driven, and that's really what made the difference. So we do have to be concerned about that. Now, the tornado threat generally is low here. Not really a setup that's too conducive to tornadoes. Now, with that said, I will tell you that if we have a few spin-up tornadoes on the leading edge, I mean, that's possible. So it's another day of, hey, the tornado threat's not great. It's pretty low, but it's not zero. We can't totally rule them out. And if we do have those tornadoes that, those what we call quasi-linear convective vortex or convective system tornadoes, QLCS, if you have one of those, they tend to be short-lived. They tend to kind of wrap up very quickly, and then they kind of go away quickly. So they're not usually going to be your long-term, long-distance tornadoes, those kind of things. They tend to happen pretty quickly. That can be a pro and a con. The pro is that they don't usually become too intense. The con is that sometimes you don't catch them until they're getting started. So that's kind of the situation there. So tornado threat, not exceptionally high, not even outside of what I would call a low risk, but it's not zero. This is just not the kind of situation where I'm expecting tornadoes everywhere. So that's what we're looking at so far. Let me just kind of point out to you too, because I know a lot of people see these maps. So the tornado risk, again, over to the northwest, that's going to be the greater risk. Really the brown, I mean, when this situation is going on, when you have this, this green, there's 2%, that is a 2% chance that a tornado is going to happen within a 25-mile radius of any point. It's so technical and so complicated, I guess, that, I hate to use these maps, but if you're wanting to know where the greater tornado risk, essentially it's where it is right now, right? Where we're having the best opportunities for that. So hold the questions about timing. We're going to go back through it. So if you're just jumping in, just be patient, and we will go back over that for you. We're still kind of going through some of the information. Now the wind risk, again, this is where I think we have the greater concern overnight, because I do think that the strong winds are possible along with the front edge of that storm. Again, you see red to yellow to brown, so farther southeast, weakening as it goes. So That said, though, I think winds will be the primary concern here. And then if we look at the hail, again, greater risk north west of us where we'll see more individual storms. So let me clear all of that off. Now, tomorrow, we are all in a slight risk. That's why the yellow is so big there. All of us, and ignore all these warnings. These are all current. This is not looking forward. I just wasn't able to toggle those off. But all of us in a slight risk. So essentially that means that, hey, we can expect a few severe storms. I'm not expecting a major situation. I do think that the Storm Prediction Center will fill at least some of this in with an enhanced risk tomorrow morning, and I'm curious to see how they do that. That may be tonight, that may be tomorrow morning. I'm not sure, but I'm curious to see where they put an enhanced risk. I have a feeling they may put that to our southwest, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. Could be, Dallas to Mejia and on southwest, but I'm not sure. We'll wait and see what they think with more of these models going forward. So that's primarily what we're looking at. And so I want to go over timing one more time because I know that there's been several people who have just jumped in and would like a recap on the timing as well. And I think there's people asking for the weather call sign up. So I just put that link in the chat for you there as well. So that make sure that you, if you see that, if you're interested in that you get signed up. So here's what we're looking at overnight. Let me back this off a little bit. So here's our area you can see there with Cleburne on the map there. So that's all the activity we have going on. That runs through 9 p.m. There's midnight. Now this is the latest run. This is what has kind of filled in as we've been talking here. So that's 2 a.m. So now the HR model is starting to back off the timing. Okay. So I told you between 12 and 2 a.m. in our northwestern zones. Now it's looking like 2 to 3 a.m. So it could be looking later, and I'm curious to see what we see in the later runs here in the next few hours. But that's 5 a.m. So by 5 a.m., covering at least half of our area. And then we get to 6 a.m., and it doesn't have 7 a.m. there yet. So by 6 a.m. should mostly be through our area. Again, the HR model has been trending a little bit later by an hour or two here in the last few hours that it has run. And so it's going to be a morning system. I think regardless, it's going to arrive or at least get started before sunrise. Whether that's 2 a.m., closer to 5 or 6, it may be tough to know until that line develops and until we see how fast that thing is moving. But that's the timing that we're expecting. Now, we're going to launch into, you've heard me talk about it, you've heard me reference it, you've heard me talk about how important it can be, and it really, really can be. We're going to talk about weather call. So this, and you've seen a couple of people talking about it already. Weather call is a very, very, very important tool that you can use to make sure that you are staying informed during a severe weather event, because we deal with it all the time, especially tonight where we have storms that come in while you're trying to sleep. Especially with tomorrow being a holiday, there's going to be a lot of people that would rather not be up all night or rather not be up early. And if you're not included in a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, then weather call won't call you. I mean, you'll get a text message for a watch or something like that. But it's going to be the urgent stuff. If you need to be woken up, if you're in a tornado warning or in a severe thunderstorm warning, you're going to get a call from my voice saying, hey, there's a tornado warning issued for your specific area. You're going to put your home address in there. It's only going to call you if your home address is within that warning polygon. You're not going to get a call if it's just, somewhere in your county. Because, hey, these are big counties. I mean, we can talk about Ellis County. Folks in Midlothian don't always need to know what's going on in Ennis and vice versa. So any of these counties, I mean, they're pretty good sized here in Texas. And so, I mean, if there's one thing going on in one part of the county, you may not necessarily need to know elsewhere, and you don't want to be woken up unnecessarily. But weather call's only going to call you if you're included in that warning. And overnight, you can leave the ringer on, and it's going to call you, and it's going to wake you up. It's going to let you know when you need to be aware of these things going on. So I'm going to put the link in there again. And by the way, Weather Call works anywhere in the country. This is not just our area here in north central Texas. Weather Call works anywhere in the United States. So if you have friends and family that are in, different parts of the country or whatever, hey, we can get you Weather Call. We can get you set up. We can get you primed and ready to go, because you need to be aware. You need to be prepared for the storms as they happen overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. March 8th, early morning storms, there wasn't a tornado. A lot of people thought there was. There actually wasn't when we all kind of sat down and looked at it. But, I mean, that was a severe thunderstorm warning. And the cool thing is with this, too, you're going to get notified if there is, if a severe thunderstorm warning goes from that, just a regular warning, to a substantial or an extreme warning, where you had those 70-plus mile-per-hour winds and baseball, golf ball to baseball-sized hail. When it's a really serious situation, you're going to get that update. When a tornado warning is if it's radar indicated, you're going to know that. But if it is an observed tornado, we've seen the tornado, we know it's there, you're going to be notified of that too. These alerts are so detailed, you're going to know exactly what's going on. Now, normally, I'm sure most of you that follow this brand, once you get the first call, you're going to be tuned in and you'll be getting calls on the air. But, the great thing is that you're not having to depend on somebody else to tell you what's going on. Your phone's going to ring when those warnings are issued. We've been having a lot of discussion about all of these sirens and the fact that, hey, people are watching these, people are listening for these tornado sirens, but they're not outside. That's the thing. These warnings, those warning sirens are there for outdoors. If you're inside, you're not necessarily meant to hear those. But Weather Call is a great way to be informed about a storm before it happens, to be woken up, to be shaken out of your focus if you're at work, those kind of things. And speaking of being at work, if you are at work when storms are going on and you want to temporarily move that Weather Call location to where you are, you can do the Find Me feature, and that's going to give you a chance to move that. And instead of getting a call for what's going on at home, you can have it set to alert you there at work. So that's another feature, the Find Me feature there. Also, hey, if you're a driver and you're driving all day or all night and you want to be warned of a warning if you're in a certain area, I mean, you can set up alerts for your house, but that doesn't help you. And it's not like you can do the Find Me feature where it says, okay, well, I want it to temporarily be in this location. You're moving. You don't want to be clicking that thing, over and over and over again. So we have a little GPS tool that will go in your truck, no installation required. It's just a little thing you can stick in your glove box, and it will ping every 5 minutes and say, "Hey, are we in a warning?" So that if you drive into a warning or a warning is issued where you're driving, you're going to be notified immediately that that's going on. So that's going to make sure that you stay safe. So just a few things from Weather Call that I've learned about, and we really want to make sure that every aspect of your day or night, you are prepared for these storms, because man, these things could get nasty overnight. And if I've heard many times, people say, well, there was a big storm last night, why didn't I get a call? We go back and look, hey, you weren't in a warning polygon, you didn't get a call. No news is good news. Now, if you're in a polygon and you don't get a call, then obviously, hey, let's get into your account, let's check those settings. But, the success rates have been pretty great. I did have a few of you, and I think I experienced this as well, recently, where you said that you got a call and all it said was press 1 to repeat the message. You press 1 and it just keeps giving you that same message. There was an error in the system that has since been fixed. So if you were dealing with that last time, that has been fixed. It's not a problem anymore. Everything will work across the board. So Weather Call is very, 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 very important. It's a very helpful service to be using. And it's not another app, it's not another thing that's going to have to ping a cell phone tower somewhere to figure out what's going on. It is a service that's online. You can log into your account and do everything there. And it's going to be your address. So it's not, delayed by trying to figure out where you are and then where the warning is, all this kind of thing. It's really quick. I mean, I've had people tell me they get a call about the warning before it even pops up on the screen, on the green screen behind me. So great service, great service, well worth looking into. There's a Weather Call sign up right there. Thank you so much for doing that. I love hearing my email ping. because it tells me that people are signing up for Weather Call. I mean, $15 a year is not, I mean, that's nothing for a service that's going to keep you safe. Less than $1 or just really just over $1 a month. That's nothing. That's nothing when you can stay safe. And possibly, I mean, this thing can save lives, especially overnight, because I mean, people are trying to sleep. We got things to do. And like I say, it's not going to overcall you. If there's a severe thunderstorm watch, tornado watch, those kind of things that you don't need to be so urgently made aware of, it can be a text message or an email, right? I mean, we also have Weather Call for Business. So if you need to make sure that your team, your business team, is informed about storms going on, we've got that as well. You know, where we can set up to where your staff at work, your leadership team at your place of business, whether it be an amusement park or a hospital or a manufacturing plant or a store somewhere, you know, a large store, something like that, where you need several people to be part of your emergency plan. And those people all need to know that there's a warning going on. Number one, how are you going to get the warning? Number two, how long is it going to take to tell all of them? I mean, that could take a while, and that delays your safety plan. And you don't know if you're on the very end of the tornado warning where you might have 15, 20 minutes, or you might be right there next to the storm and you don't have that time. So Weather Call for Business puts everybody on the same page, everybody on the same playing field, and everybody gets the warning right at the same time. So if you're interested in any of those other products, just shoot an email over to kevin@southmetroweather.com, and we can, you know, make sure that I'm going to put that in the chat here. Okay. So yeah, if you're interested in Weather Call for Business, then email me, because that's something that I'm actually working on learning more about right now. Finding some places in our area actually that really could benefit from it. So it's been fun to kind of learn about different emergency plans, how those are implemented, how those are executed, and you know, give people a chance to be safe, be prepared. Right? I mean, that's what I'm here for. I mean, that's why I get up and do this every day. That's why I go through the stresses sometimes of having your own business. And I mean, it can be really fun. It can also be, you know, there's a lot to learn there. There's a lot of learning curve there. But I do it because I love keeping people informed. So we're going to go through the timing one more time here. And if you miss any part of this, hey, this is going to be posted on Facebook and YouTube for you to watch later. So just so you're aware, it will be posted to where you can watch this on demand. So we're going to skip ahead to that's about 12. Jay Stafford, yeah, the business alerts would work great for golf courses. You're exactly right. Yeah, I mean, it's a really great deal. And that's why I mentioned, you know, amusement parks too. I mean, we've got Scarborough Renaissance Festival going on. So those are any of those times where you have people that are spread out over a large campus or a large area. You know, you got to keep those people informed. There's also, you know, sirens that Weather Call is a part of, that if you just need an outdoor siren that just goes off and just tells everybody in that space that there's, you know, stuff going on, there's that too. But if you need your leadership, you know, your safety team, your leadership team to know and everybody to be on the same page at the same time, Weather Call for Business is designed for that. I mean, the technology is there. Why not invest in that and have a safer work environment? So that's midnight here. There's another Weather Call sign up. Thank you so much for doing that. So here's the timing. That's 2 a.m. This is the latest run. Again, this could wobble back and forth overnight. I still think that we're going to see it arrive between 1 and 3 a.m., right? 1 and 4 a.m. maybe. It'll be, you know, after midnight, before sunrise. So that window there, I know that's a big window, but really between 1 and 5 is when we're going to see it move on through. Donnie Ricks, you said you're signed up and not getting the phone calls. Donnie, how long ago did you sign up? And are you sure that you have been in a warning polygon since then? That would be my question. So Kimmy, yeah, so this will be posted later. So if you miss any of the details, then you can watch after. But so this is 2 a.m. This is at 2 a.m. What the HR model, the latest run of the HR model, is thinking in terms of timing. Like I said, it's going to fluctuate before then. Especially once this line develops, we'll get a better idea of kind of when to expect it. That's 3 a.m., 4, 5, and 6. So again, according to this, between about 3 and 7 a.m., that's where we're going to be looking at as far as that is concerned. Now, so Donnie, I would have you log into your account. Now, if you haven't been included in a warning polygon, and there's some folks that may not have been at this point, but if you are, Donnie, if you would go into your account, log into your weather call account, and just make sure all your settings are right, make sure the phone numbers are right. I had probably 3 or 4 people that weren't getting calls and find out the number is like a digit off or something weird. So double check that for sure. Just make sure that, make sure that you're kind of watching that. So this is 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9. Again, just lots and lots of heavy rain. This one only goes to 10 a.m. But lots and lots of rain tomorrow. That's why we have that flood watch that goes into effect at 10 o'clock tonight and runs until Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Because multiple rounds of very heavy rain. We're not really looking at this being a flash flood issue at this moment. And I showed you earlier that the NAM model is a little more reserved as opposed to the other model, the HR model, that's a lot more aggressive with this. So, it's going to go different ways. It's going to do different things. But all in all, the primary deal here is going to be, the primary thing to remember is that, there will be storms overnight. There will be storms early in the morning, that go through. And then throughout the day tomorrow, more showers and thunderstorms are possible. And of course, we'll be covering all of that for you and bringing updates. But overnight, the overnight storms are the ones that concern me the most. Because if things start to go sideways, that's why I talk so much ad nauseum about weather call. Because it really gives you an opportunity to be prepared when you otherwise may not be. Because you're trying to, sleep like a normal person. Not like me when I'm, awake all the time. But that's why weather call is so important. So I want to put that back on the screen here, and I can take any questions you have as well, and we'll just kind of go that route. But I do want to keep weather call up on the screen, and I'll post that link one more time here. Again, weather call, you're going to get a call from me when there's a warning issued. On a night like tonight, all you got to do is leave the ringer on. If you have the do not disturb, the focus or do not disturb, whatever it's called now, on your phone, and you don't, you have it set to where you're not going to get a whole bunch of phone calls, but you want to get this one, you can get a test phone call, and weather call will call you, and whatever number you see when you get that call from weather call, when you do that test call, I know I'm saying the word call a lot, but it will be the same phone number. And so you can save that number, call it weather call, and then you can put that in your phone, put it in that exceptions list or allow list or whatever it's called, and that will allow it to go through. So there's really no way that this would be an issue. So Jeremy Downey, timing for storms at DFW Airport. Well, like we were showing you earlier, this is, the model has it around 2 to 3 a.m. So that's the latest with the HR model. And that seems to be lining up with what the NAM model had earlier. It had things a little bit later as well. So I would say, 2 to 3 a.m. if the HR model stays consistent. It can fluctuate. We'll see what that does. But just, to kind of keep you informed on that. So any other questions? If you have those, feel free to send those in through the chat here, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Okay, looks like we may not have any questions here, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so that we can, I can kind of start posting some information to some other spots and just kind of keep the information going. I'll have more longer term data, model data, later tonight. So 8 o'clock is the next extended runs. HR comes in first, NAM comes in after that. So between 8 and 10 o'clock, I'll have more data tonight to kind of show what we're looking at. But, you know, I mean, I very highly doubt I'm going to see anything radically different than what we've been looking at. Ted Wade, what time should it move out by? Well, that's the thing. We've been talking about the fact that tomorrow, I mean, we'll see showers and thunderstorms throughout most of the day. This model goes through about 10 a.m. And you can see the heaviest moving out to the southwest by 7 or 8 o'clock. But overall, I think as we go, I mean, you can see 10 a.m. we still have rain and storms. I don't have that up here. Hang on just a second. I need you to cooperate with me. Here we go. All right. So again, this is 4 a.m. So 5, 6, 7. So by 7 or 8 o'clock, the strongest of the storms should be moved out. But again, it looks like we have showers and thunderstorms really kind of off and on throughout the rest of the day. Lori, you said you're trying to activate Find Me services, and it says user denied geolocation. I wonder if there's something in your settings about location services. That sounds like what that is to me. I'll check into that, but my guess would be that it may have something to do with the settings in your phone. Because it's saying, user denied geolocation. So it sounds to me like there's a situation where you're not allowing the location services, that would be required for it to zero in on your phone and find a location. Kevin Baugh, should there be significant winds? It's possible. I mean, when we look at this line, let me kind of go back here. Again, that's 3 a.m. You can see that bow shape. You can see that is a linear complex, this line of storms, and usually with that we're going to see some pretty strong winds. So my guess is baseline 50 to 60 mile per hour winds possible in those storms. I mean, we could crank up to 70 in some places, but my guess would be 50 to 60. Debbie, yes, are we expecting another round overnight tomorrow or late into the night tomorrow? Yeah, so I mean, we're expecting another round of storms tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and then could be another one early Tuesday morning. There's another weather call sign up. Thank you so much. So, yeah, I mean, and we'll have more on that tomorrow. We'll hopefully get a better idea of timing and those things. But, yeah, tomorrow evening could be another round of storms, and then another round early Tuesday morning. So this front is going to kind of stall. So, unfortunately, that's going to bring us multiple rounds of storms over the next several days. So this is going to be a busy week in the weather department. But that's kind of where things go. But I'm going to do my best to kind of take these a round or two at a time because in this kind of environment, sometimes one round can affect the last round. So, sometimes, for example, the early morning round could stabilize the atmosphere to where tomorrow evenings are less intense, or, the air could be allowed to refresh and, recover and that kind of thing, and it could be more intense. So it's kind of a domino effect sometimes. That can make it hard to forecast too far out. But yes, I mean, we are looking at more, rounds of storms. Mike, since you're here, what are the hail size predictions? So it's hard to say exactly because, I mean, you have to take it storm by storm. What I will say is what I said earlier is when you have a linear complex like this, it's not usually going to be the kind of thing that leads to those very, very large hailstones like the more discrete independent storms do. Those discrete storms, it's a mesocyclone that's carrying all of that up into the cloud. So the updraft is much stronger. And it's not competing for updrafts the way that this whole line will be. So I'm expecting if we get up to golf ball size hail, I would be impressed. I'm not expecting too much bigger than that. Now, that's not to say it can't happen. That's the thing, is with these storms, I mean, there can always be one or two of these that really decide to pop off. So larger hail is possible. I just don't think we're going to see it that widespread. But I think generally, largely, we're probably looking at, quarter to nickel-sized hail. Quarter to $50 sized hail being more prominent. And Amanda, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to go back and recap. I mean, this is 3 a.m. So what you're looking at is 3 a.m. tomorrow. So that's really the most of what people need to know is by 1 to 3 a.m. is when they're probably moving in. We'll see if that timing adjusts as we go through the evening, but that's what we're looking at. But yeah, to get the rest of the information, you'll be able to go back and watch this in its entirety after we're done here. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to try to jump over to, I think we can go live on TikTok here afterwards and try to talk there as well about what's going on. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you missed the meat of this conversation, you'll be able to go back and watch it on Facebook or YouTube on demand, and you'll be able to get more information there. But stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We'll have more updates on this coming overnight tonight.